Hey gang, Scott Davenport here. Welcome to In Post. Thanks for joining me today. Today's video is a live edit. Live is in air quotes. This isn't a live streaming, but what it is a photo from my library I've never worked on before. Press record, start editing, and we see what happens. And so I'll talk about why I'm making choices along the way. There may be some mistakes, there may be some wrong turns, but that's how we learn, that's how we grow. And so I have these photos here. I shared with you earlier this week a visit to Glass Beach. This is the sunset, silhouette scene that I got right at the end of the day, and I had seen this reflecting pool area during my scouting. And I have two photos up here, and the reason is the difference in the people that are in the photo. So I'm going to make this one large. I really like the gesture of this person that's just walking and hiking along here. And if I arrow over to the other photo, you can see there's just a shift. Obviously the clouds have moved, but some of the other people have moved around as well. So I'm having both of them open because I might need to do some light masking to do a little tourist removal. I really like this one person here. But like, for example, this other person over here, and there's this reflection. I don't want that. I don't want some of the other folks here. I really like that one solo person and just the way that they're moving. And also in this one, there's a bit of a ripple. There were some kids that were tossing stones into the little still water here, and that's kind of a nice little accent. So maybe a combination of these two photos is what's going to result. But first, I need to get some basic edits done. So back to my grid view, and I'll just work on the one that has the nice gesture in it to begin, and then we'll just copy over all the settings there. So really just need the basics to be done here. Let's start with a camera profile, and that's already doing a nice things for the color. It's even opening up the shadows a little bit. I can actually start to see some of those rocks. We may actually deepen those down. As shot is probably going to be fine. We'll play with daylight. That daylight's almost a little bit too warm. I like some of those deeper blues that are up toward the edges there. All right, I'll try auto. Auto is it's opening things up a little bit too much for me. I like the darker feel. I certainly did auto again. Must have added some contrast or something. Yeah, I don't like what auto's doing. I like the softer feel. So let's not do auto. J key really quick to see where I'm clipping. Down here, this is not important detail. I will actually take the shadows down a little bit more. And not so much that I really start to clip those rocks and play back and forth on black point versus shadows. But I really want to deepen these rock faces here, especially this one where I'm seeing some of that detail. I don't want that. I want that to be just really, really dark. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at that with the tone curve. There's a little double-headed arrow, kind of hover around. That is really deep shadow. It's just not pure black. So then that's going to be pretty okay then, really. I wouldn't be able to do much here. Little tiny tug downward. And then to keep everything else in check, bring that back up before, after. And that's actually affecting a lot of the scene. Before and after. And not really significantly, but I've made the adjustment. I'll just leave it there. If it turns out that I need to bring some shadows back, mental note, bring back the tone curve. What else for this? Let's go back here for a minute. Perhaps a little texture. Oh gosh, maybe not. I do like the dreamy feeling of these clouds. Notice when I push that texture up, it was starting to add crispness in there. I don't want that. I want, this outline, this edge is crisp, and that's fine. Matter of fact, that gives me a good idea. Let's do a radial filter. Make sure I'm covering mainly the areas that I want to keep, and this being like my main subject there. We'll use texture here and make that in the positive direction. But then use a luminance mask. Also need to invert that so we're targeting inside the radial. And I'll just pull down a whole lot of that, and I'm just going to get on my shadowed areas. Maybe nudge that up a little bit. stretch it and feather it out so it's kind of just hitting that, really what's become my horizon. I'm almost using the land mass that's, the horizon is really somewhere out here, but visually this is becoming a horizon. And let's see, before and after that. Before, after, I honestly can't see a change. Again, I'll just leave it there since I've put it there. And now I want to copy these settings to the second photo. So in the film strip here, I'll just go over to the second photo. I'll click Previous, and that will bring over all of the changes. So now I have two photos that are processed and visually very similar. I'm going to bring these into a layering package and do some light masking for two things. I want the layering for easy removal of people that moved around or between the shots, and also something with a little bit of a stronger retouch, content aware removal. On1 Photo is my choice for layering software that just is easiest for me to use. So back to our grid mode, I'll select both of these and send them on over to On1 as layers, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, both photos are loaded into On1 Photo Raw. Let's just see what we've got here. This top layer, if I turn that off, I'm getting the ripples and my non-gesture. I'll call this my silhouette. That's the silhouetted hiker, and then this layer is the word I'm looking for. We'll call this ripple, because it's got that ripple on it that I kind of liked. Now, thinking about the masking here, as I turn off this top layer and I look at the bottom with the ripple, now the clouds have moved. And so if I were to just mask away this part of silhouetted hiker layer and bring in the ripples, it would be pretty darn close to the sky reflecting down, but it would be slightly different. So I think instead what I will do is reverse the order of these layers. Let's drag the hiker down to the bottom, and I'll work on the ripple layer. I want to bring back in the gestured hiker and then remove as many people as I can with masking, and then just do remaining cleanup with content aware fill. So let's zoom into this area here. All right, so here is the first area we'll work on. And looking around here, let's start with the ripple layer selected. I want to mask out. So let's get my brush. Where is my brush? Right there. Okay, masking brush, opacity 100%. Let's just get that brush to be a lot more manageable. And we'll remove this hiker. So what's happening is I am masking something away from the top layer and revealing what's beneath. Well, what's beneath is emptiness. And thankfully, because these hikers are going across this bank of clouds, the motion, while it is there, is very subtle, and so we don't really notice the difference there. I do have to remember to take their reflection out as well. And the rocks did not move, so this makes it a very, very easy masking job. If you've got a scene where you have things moving through the scene, if you're on a tripod, take 2 or 3 of them, stack them in a layering program, and then you can very, very easily take away portions of the scene you don't want. Now let's do the same thing here. These folks will move away magically and their reflection. Okay. And then the remainder, looking at the 2, it's really not going to make much of a difference. What I do need to do is bring back in our silhouetted hiker. So how do I do that? So again, I'm going to paint out. I'm going to remove. So I'm removing the top layer, which has nothing, and bringing in our silhouetted hiker, and then make sure I get their reflection. I'm just toggling that on and off so I know where to brush. Okay, there we go. That looks cool. I press the O key. You can see what this mask looks like. You know, the masking is quite sloppy. I'm not worrying about the edges because most of the scene hasn't changed between the shots. All right, let's make sure I didn't miss anything to be removed. That second scene was pretty clean. So there's all that. We got those ripples in there. We have this stuff. Okay. And now the question, if I zoom back out, do I want to have a single person going through, or do I want to keep this group? And I think I want to have a single person. So, to take care of removing these other folks, I will grab the perfect eraser. That's on one's content aware fill tool. I am on the ripple layer, so I'm only working on that layer right now. We'll start with this person. Good. Little cleanup to do, but we'll do that next. And we'll start with this couple. Move on to this couple. Well, that did not work as well. Let's give that a second pass. Getting closer. We'll do one more try. If this one doesn't do it, clone tool it will be. All right, clone to it will be. We'll get the clone tool. And the way the clone tool works is we take a sample point. We're going to do an Alt or Option click. This little swatch, that was actually too close to our person. Let's move over here, Option click again. So now I've got some cleaner clouds. Shrink that brush down just a little bit. Shrink, not grow, shrink. Wiggle that around ever so slightly. I'll come in from this side now, Option click, and we'll rebuild a little bit of clouds there. Just kind of wiggling my finger through. And one more time, Option click right here. Let's get that to take again. Come on, Option click. There it is. What is going on there? I'm wondering if the sample didn't update. It did. Ooh, that feels like a bug. Option click. Huh. Better. Okay. All I want to do is make sure I get a clean cut between these two segments. And then do the same thing at the very base of the ridge. Option click. We'll do right about there. Come in from the other side once more. Oh, this is ooh, I'm gonna have to go give on one guys a call. This is just getting a little bit crusty here. Let's switch over to our content aware and take care of removing these last little bits of straggle, and this should be a lot easier for it to do. Okay, and I'm gonna give it some healthy amount of surrounding pixels. Oh my goodness. I am not particularly pleased right now with on one here. This is not cool. And I don't know why it's struggling so much unless it Ooh, okay. Here's a thought. I wonder if the retouching tool is not considering my mask. So I masked away some other people around here. And when it's looking for surrounding pixels and taking a sample, it's finding the original pixels. It's not finding the mask. So, okay, that makes sense. At least I understand what's going on. Doesn't make me a lot happier, but at least I understand what's going on. So I can work with that now and just do my samples a little farther away. All right, there's that. As a matter of fact, maybe the approach I need to do here is flatten things down. So let's merge these layers. I mean, I'm done with the masking. I'm going to merge these layers. All right, so I got no other pixels now. Q key, let's give this a shot. Perfect eraser. Much better. All right. retouch tool to kind of blend that piece in. Do that again. Smooth that out. One more time along the top so I get a nice smooth blend there. And this is the kind of stuff that, other than you and me, people watching this video, no one else would notice this type of thing. Okay, now I probably should have done a masking work on this one too, but let's go ahead and then take care of the reflections part of this. So back to the stamp tool, I just did a Shift S, Option or Alt click. We'll do a little divide and conquer there. Option Alt click, start to bring that in from that side. Option click, and you get the pattern that I'm doing here, right? I'm just trying to get a clean break between the object I want to remove and the rest of it. Like, so this, now that you got these reflections that are kind of floating out in the water here, and then those can be dealt with directly. All right, one more time. Get that. And then we get this, and this is working much better without having done the masking or having any other hidden pixels that get considered by the tool. Now, one last thing I just noticed is next to the hiker, that's actually a couple sitting down, taking in the sunset. Instead of removing them, I'm going to just get rid of this little dot that is a space, I'm going to guess, between their heads or their shoulders or their necks or something. And now that just looks like some other part of the ridge line here. All right, so that's all done. And now that I'm zooming back out, having worked in that bright area, the photo almost feels a little bit dark. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. Let's open exposure a little bit, and then open shadows a little bit. So the nice thing is we can still do adjustments right here in on one. Something else that might feel nice is a bit of a glow. Let's get into a glow. Let's take a look at, we'll start with, Orton Clean that's really heavy-handed, right? Soft Focus is going to be very airy and light. It kind of looks nice. Radiance is moody. These are actually, kind of things I've tweaked from, say, Radiance Glow, and I've done, adjustments to it and saved my own styles. Misty Land. Okay. The notion was nice, but I'm not seeing a look that's making me happy here. Normal is probably about as good as it gets for this particular scene. Let's hit normal, into the masking tools, add a luminosity mask. I don't want to have dark things glowing. Dark things don't glow, only bright things do. I will add some color though. Let's go do back that in develop. We can just do a straight vibrance and push that up a little bit. All right, let's see. Before those adjustments and after. That's a nice improvement. And I do not need to vignette this. This is already naturally vignetted. So I think I am going to be done with this one. I'm going to call it good. Well, maybe one last potential option here is lighten. Let's grab a gradient. We'll mask this in as a vignette. What I'm looking at is just seeing if I can offset a little bit of, basically doing a reverse vignette. I could do this with the vignette tool, but I want to play first. And see if it's really valuable or not. It is to a degree. Let's do this with the vignette. Now I've got a little bit of a easier control there. I don't have to worry as much about sizing around my vignette. So feather comes down. Brightness. I'll bring the brightness down mainly so I can see the edge. So I want to get that about there. But now I actually want to nudge it in the opposite direction. Put the feather all the way back up. And just kind of taking a little bit of that darkness off of the edges there. Before, after, a little bit too much. Wow, this is going to end up being a really tiny adjustment. And all said and done, I'm not going to keep it because this is my subject. And as I open this up, while I think maybe I'm a little biased because I've been working so closely in that bright area where the sun was going down, I'm going to keep this as is. So we're going to be done with this, send it back over to Lightroom, and be finished up. All right, back in Lightroom, let's take one more look here. This is the photo that we did the basic adjustments on in Lightroom and then brought it in over to On1. And this here is the finished product. Removed the other hikers except for our lone, stepping person there. And yeah, I like that. That's a nice photo. Is this the best photo I've ever taken? No, but it certainly is a good one, and I feel nice that I'm able to leave the glass beach with a photo that I'm happy with. If you saw in the field, you saw that the glass part of the beach was a little disappointing to me. But this, really nice. And I think the big takeaway for me in this video is remembering to do maybe some retouching before I do my masking, or flatten down layers once I'm finished with doing some masking, because the retouch tools are considering the pixels in the original layer. They're not considering the mask. And so that was kind of a moment of discovery there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got a tip or two for your photography. And if you got questions about photography, drop them in the comments below, or let me know some other way. If you want to keep it private, you can hit me through my website. And until next time, my name's Scott Davenport. Happy shooting.